Hi everyone, my name is Alex and I'm coming to you from Streanner Media in beautiful Miami, Florida. Streanner Media is the most disruptive video and audio platform experience for content providers. And with Streanner, you can distribute, engage, and monetize your content. So, welcome to today's episode of Tech Tango. I first want to apologize if I switch between looking at the camera and looking down. I brought my laptop with me for my notes because what I'm going to talk about today, there is a lot of information about, a lot of detail, so I wanted to come prepared. And today I am going to talk to you all about something that I honestly had no idea about and no idea of how this worked or what it meant for our world. And that is why I wanted to pick it for today's topic. And this is going to be about cryptocurrency. So, if you're anything like me, you probably have heard of Bitcoin, but you might not really have a true understanding of what exactly cryptocurrency is and how it works. I certainly didn't at all until I did a lot of research. So all of that research is what I am going to be sharing with you today. And I hope that you learn something new. Maybe if you were confused, it'll finally, click in your head. So here we go. This information, by the way, is from Investopedia, NerdWallet, Forbes, The Balance, and the YouTube channel 99 Bitcoin. So just shout out to them for all their information, for educating me about this topic. So I'm just going to dive right in to cryptocurrency, what it is, what it means, how it works, all of that. So cryptocurrency is a form of digital or virtual payment. It is decentralized and distributed across computers, which means that it operates outside of government control, which is just crazy. The word crypto in cryptocurrency comes from the type of encryption which is used to secure the network to prevent hacking. So basically what all that means is it is a type of currency, a type of payment, basically a type of money. It doesn't exist in physical form. It's not regulated by banks or the government. It can't be cash. It's all virtual, all online. There are over 6,700 cryptocurrencies, which is just a fun fact. I actually didn't know that. The most well-known cryptocurrency is Bitcoin. Hopefully you've heard of Bitcoin, even if you don't really know what it is. You can't really turn on the news or anything without hearing the word Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the most popular and it's the most valuable cryptocurrency. So before we go in, I'm just going to pause and kind of talk about why cryptocurrency is so popular, because when I was first doing this research, or when I even first heard about Bitcoin, I really had no idea why people were into it, why it was so popular, why the value of it was so high. So one of the reasons that cryptocurrency is so popular is because many people believe that it is a currency of the future, which is another topic for another day. And people think that, it's going to be the way that we eventually buy and sell food and goods. And another reason is this is all because cryptocurrency has nothing to do with central banks. So any type of bank is completely taken away from the world of cryptocurrency. And it completely removes the problem of banks managing the money supply, which when you think of it, you're like, oh, okay, that sounds good. Sounds simple enough, but we've only hit the tip of the iceberg with cryptocurrency. So before I go on, just a quick summary. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, is a currency. It only exists online, not regulated by government, banks, not in physical form. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about exactly how it works. And for this, I'm really going to try my best to explain exactly how the buying and selling of cryptocurrency works. And for this example specifically, I'm going to be talking to you about Bitcoin. So let me just put a warning that it took me like hours to read and figure out like what this meant. So I was, reading documents and websites and watching YouTube videos because the concept of how Bitcoin operates just was like, it was insane. So let's begin with what that all means. So, just to start, Bitcoin was created in 2009, and it was made by an unknown person using an alias, Satoshi Nakamoto. We don't know if that's his real name or if it's even a woman, but that's the name that we refer to the founder of Bitcoin as. And this is where we begin. Okay, so there is a finite amount of Bitcoin in the world. So you can't print more or create more than what already exists on this planet. So the amount of Bitcoin available is limited. So whatever Bitcoin Satoshi Nakamoto created in 2009, that's it. So there's no printing or creating more of Bitcoin. So when people buy and sell Bitcoin, they're essentially doing that all from the amount of the Bitcoin that already exists. And this is a really important thing to know before we go deeper, because this is where Bitcoin mining comes from. And let me just say, it took me a very long time to understand what Bitcoin mining is. I really had no idea what that even meant before I did this research. So if you're anything like me, you're probably listening and you're like, I don't know what that means. So let me explain it to you. I'm going to try my best to break it down. So you know how you can mine for a natural resource, right? Like a natural resource in the earth. And I don't know how mining works, breaking down rock, digging, whatever, until you have access to that natural resource. So the same thing is essentially true with Bitcoin. So just like there is a finite amount of natural resources you can mine for, there is a finite amount of Bitcoin that exists. So there is 21 million Bitcoin that exists ever in the world. And a Bitcoin miner is someone who uses their computer, right? Because remember, this is all online. So they use their computer to solve complex mathematical programming problems to unearth the Bitcoin. So I couldn't even begin to tell you what those problems are or how to solve them. So I'm not even going to try to go into that because I really don't know. But what I do know is there is someone behind a computer doing computer technical engineering things, and they are mining and unlocking, almost like unlocking and unearthing the Bitcoin that exists but is hidden. So the more that they mine, the more Bitcoin is unlocked to them. So in addition to miners searching for Bitcoin, right? Because you have a miner and the miner can spend their days and times mining and unearthing Bitcoin. In addition, they also act as a referee and they monitor Bitcoin transactions to make sure that there's no fraud happening. So when the miners verify transactions, the miner gets paid. So basically, a Bitcoin miner gets paid in two ways. First, by the actual mining for Bitcoin, right? Like what we talked about, unearthing, uncovering from the computer programming world, right? And then the second way is for verifying transactions. So, so that's basically what Bitcoin mining is. But here's the deal. So the person who created Bitcoin, Satoshi, wanted the value of Bitcoin to stay constant no matter how many miners there are. So we said there's 21 million Bitcoin that exist. So Satoshi wanted the value of a Bitcoin to stay the same no matter if there were 10 million miners or 2 miners. He didn't want that to affect the value of Bitcoin. So the more people become miners, the difficulty of the mining goes up in order to keep the value constant. So let me explain how that works. So let's go back to 2009. So in 2009, you could mine 2,000 Bitcoin in a few days. Because that was when Bitcoin just came out. So not a lot of people were doing this. So there were a limited amount of miners in the world. So you could mine a lot more in just a few days. So let's fast forward 5 years to 2014. In 2014, it took 98 years to mine 1 Bitcoin. So 2009, you can mine 2,000 Bitcoin in a couple days. 2014, it would take 98 years to mine 1 Bitcoin, which is insane. Like my mind can't even comprehend how crazy that is. But because of this, something called mining pools were created. So mining pools are made of groups of miners who come together to mine, and they each get paid for what they accomplish. Because now, right, there's so many more miners than there were when Bitcoin first came out. So it's a lot harder, and obviously 98 years to mine 1 Bitcoin, it takes a whole lot more time. So let's say, okay, you listen to this, you're like, okay, I understand. I want to be involved in this Bitcoin thing, but I don't know anything about mining. That's okay, because you can purchase Bitcoin from people who already own it. So this is done through a number of transactional services online where you can buy, if you have the money, 1 Bitcoin or a fraction of a Bitcoin, like a stock. So something else that I was reading about, which is very interesting, is it's actually possible to lose Bitcoin. And once Bitcoin is lost, most likely you'll never get it back, because that means that amount of Bitcoin is gone forever. So it's not like the dollar, which is constantly printed. Bitcoin could be lost by forgetting that you have it in your account. You can send it to the wrong address during a transaction and then never get it back. You can forget your private key, which is what's given to you specifically for you to access your Bitcoin, which is, to me, like kind of scary. There's only a finite amount in the world, and if you own it and you lose it, there's nothing that you can do about it. So currently, the price of Bitcoin is $47,000, roughly. And you can use Cash App, Robinhood, any other website, something along those lines, to purchase a portion of a Bitcoin, or again, an entire. You can keep it, like you can keep your Bitcoin or a fraction for however long you want, and then you can sell it once the value of Bitcoin goes up. And it really seems like whenever Elon Musk tweets about Bitcoin, the price just like skyrockets. So I know I mentioned earlier that Satoshi wanted to create Bitcoin so the value doesn't change. And let me be clear that when it comes to like supply and demand of people buying and selling Bitcoins, that is when the value of Bitcoin fluctuates. But the value of Bitcoin fluctuating based on the amount of miners isn't what's the word? That doesn't have anything to do with it. So the amount of miners that there are does not have an effect on the value of a Bitcoin. The value of a Bitcoin comes from the amount of people who are buying it and selling it, and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to clarify that because that was really confusing to me. So I like to think of it as a stock. Like you can compare it to a stock that you can buy and then you can sell when the value changes. So yeah, I know that was kind of a lot. It was a little bumpy. I hope it all made sense. And I really hope you were able to understand what I was talking about. And, after doing all this research, I really don't know what to think about Bitcoin. I think it's insane to me that it really is a fake currency with no physical evidence. And to me, it makes me have a hard time to wrap my head around that you can pay real money to owe part of online money, that you can trade or use to purchase physical items. So I came up with a list that I found of major companies that are accepting Bitcoin. So Wikipedia, Microsoft, AT&T, Burger King, KFC, Overstock, Subway, Twitch, Pizza Hut, Miami Dolphins, Dallas Mavericks, Virgin Mobile / Virgin Atlantic, and Norwegian Airlines. So there's a lot more, but those are the most well-known as of now. And I thought, after doing all this research, okay, where is Bitcoin now? What's happening? So there is a very recent update that Tesla took about 8 to 10% of their cash reserve and purchased $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, which is so much money. And Tesla also said that they're working on accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment sometime in the future. So I don't really know where that's going to lead, but I'm sure it's going to turn into something. I also wanted to touch on a type of cryptocurrency called Dogecoin. And yes, I did say that correctly. Doge is the name of the very famous internet meme, if you remember. If you're not on the internet, if you're older, if you're my parents, you probably don't know what that means. But if you do know what that means, they made a cryptocurrency based off of this meme. And it really sounds like a fake part of our reality, but there's 127 billion Dogecoins in existence, and about 113 billion have been mined. I cannot tell you if this is worth investing. The value is less than $1. So it seems crazy that people are, really investing their money and time and effort into a type of currency that is based off an internet joke. But, you could be surprised. Maybe I will invest in Dogecoin and I'll be a millionaire in 10 years. You never know, because it started as a joke and now it's a type of currency, which kind of happened to Bitcoin. When Bitcoin first came out, people were super unsure and skeptical. And now, if you would have purchased Bitcoin back in 2009, you would probably be a millionaire by now, which is insane. So that was a mouthful. I really, really hope that this was a good explanation of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, the whole world of cryptocurrency, is a lot to wrap your head around, but I really wanted to take the time to explain it to you if you didn't have the time to do all of the research. And if you have any questions or you think this was a horrible podcast and I did a horrible job, please email me and let me know. It's alex@strean.com. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. And don't forget that if you decide to purchase Bitcoin, don't lose your key. Don't send it to the wrong address, because once it's gone, it's gone. So that's it for today on Tech Tango. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And for more information on Strean, you can visit www.strean.com. Thank you guys, and I will see you on Tech Tango next week. Bye.